So this story coming out is just wild. Taylor Swift allegedly had Kanye West removed from the Super Bowl after he tried to upstage her on Sunday night. Apparently Taylor made a call to have Kanye booted after he intentionally bought seats that were in front of hers. She was there cheering on her boyfriend Travis Kelce in a VIP box with her celebrity friends. It was said that Kanye then strategically placed himself in front of Taylor to photobomb any footage of her during the game's broadcast, so she got him removed from his seat. This version of events comes from ex-NFL star Brandon Marshall, who shared a suite with the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell at the big game. He made this shocking accusation on his Paper Route podcast on Monday, but of course we have to mention that there is no evidence that this story is totally accurate. At one point when he was telling it, he briefly mixes up Taylor Swift with Katy Perry, who wasn't even at the game. He does go into a lot of detail though, so it sounds like there could be some kind of truth to it. Marshall says, so Kanye West pulls up to the Super Bowl. Kanye buys a ticket right in front of Katy Perry's booth, so anytime they are going to be showing Katy Perry, Kanye's face was going to be there. He had a mask on with his logo on the mask. He then corrects himself and says, so Taylor Swift gets pissed off and she makes a call or two, everyone is involved, and he gets kicked out of the stadium. Marshall accused Kanye of trying to leverage Taylor's celebrity status in order to make some money whenever she was inevitably going to be shown on TV. And that kind of makes sense considering that she's like always on camera. But how accurate is this version of events? Kanye and his wife Bianca Censori were photographed at the game. They were also shown in the stands during the broadcast. There was no mention of them being kicked out of the Allegiant Stadium though. And if that really did happen, then it probably would have been a huge story and you would have read about it everywhere. But according to Kanye, he was not trying to upstage her again. His representative commented on this story and they said this is a completely fabricated rumor. It is not true. Kanye was seen wearing a head-turning crucifix mask on top of his forehead covering at the big game. His vintage Alexander McQueen mask had a white crucifix between the eyes, and it was most likely a tribute to the late fashion designer. Photos from the game showed him standing next to a security guard nowhere near Taylor's suite. Photos also proved that her VIP box was surrounded by no one but fans excited to watch the match. On that same broadcast, Marshall also brought up the history between Kanye and Taylor, which took place at the 2009 MTV Video Music Awards. He said, so then you got to go back to the beef, you know, of him cutting her off when she's winning a Grammy and saying that Beyonce should have won it. He said, so that is what he tried to do. He tried to sit in front of Taylor Swift yesterday. You might remember the moment when Kanye stormed the VMA stage as Taylor attempted to accept her award for Best Video by a Female Artist. He declared Beyonce to be the rightful recipient of the Video of the Year award, and he said, yo Taylor, I'm really happy for you and I'm gonna let you finish, but Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. It seemed like a harmless stunt, but the resulting fallout from that moment was explosive. That event really made history and it solidified the narrative that Kanye was something of a villain and Taylor of course was the victim, considering that she was only 19 years old at the time and apparently she cried backstage after that incident, before she had to then go back on and perform. The feud between them reached its peak in 2016 when Kanye named her in his song Famous. He said, I made that be famous. For her part, Taylor then clapped back at the 2016 Grammys, saying there are going to be people along the way who are going to try to undercut your success or take credit from your accomplishments or your fame. And then Kim came to Kanye's defense and leaked a recording of Taylor agreeing to the lyrics over the phone when Kanye called her from the studio. This caused a massive scandal to erupt and fans called Taylor a snake for seemingly lying, saying that she never consented to him using those lyrics. But it wasn't until 4 years later that the full phone call made the rounds on social media, which exonerated Taylor of any wrongdoing. During that call, you can hear Kanye reassure her that the lyrics won't be mean, and he conveniently leaves out the fact that he is going to call her a B-word. So in the end, it was revealed that Taylor was the one telling the truth. In December, she sat down for a rare confessional interview with Time magazine where she talked about her life, her career, and all of her accolades over the years. But it's no surprise that one part of that interview is what people really focused on. She finally addressed that age-old feud between her and Kim and Kanye. Looking back on the scandal, Taylor said, you have a fully manufactured frame job in an illegally recorded phone call, which Kim Kardashian edited and then put out to say to everyone that I was a liar. She described the situation, saying that it took her down psychologically to a place that she had never been before. She said, I moved to a foreign country. I didn't have a rental house for a year. I was afraid to get on phone calls. I pushed away most people in my life because I didn't trust anyone anymore. I went down really hard. As we know, Taylor then went on to release 2017's Reputation, partially in response to this Scandal, which is an album that she remembers as being met with an uproar and skepticism. She thought that moment of backlash was going to define her negatively for the rest of her life. She said, "Make no mistake, my career was taken away from me." In that same interview, Taylor describes her fallout with Kim and Kanye as being one of two springboards for the success that she has today. The second one was having her life's work taken away from her by someone who hates her. She was of course referring to the 2020 sale of her album masters to Scooter Braun, who acquired them from the owner of Taylor's ex-label Big Machine Records. She said, "With the Scooter thing, my masters were being sold to someone who actively wanted them for nefarious reasons. I was so shocked by the sale of my music and to whom it was sold." She said, "Oh, they got me beat now, this is it, I don't know what to do." After lots of public back and forth, she decided to reclaim her lost albums by re-recording them one by one, a project she is now 2/3 of the way through. Only her 2006 self-titled debut and Reputation are left. When speaking about this whole situation, she said, "My response to anything that happens, good or bad, is just to keep making things. Keep making art. But I've also learned that there is no point in actively trying to quote unquote defeat your enemies. Trash takes itself out every single time." Wow. There was also a lot of other juicy information in that interview. Some people have been wondering since the Eras tour kicked off how she was physically able to get through a 3-hour show every single night, all while making it look completely effortless. In response, she explained that every day she would run on the treadmill and sing the entire set list out loud, fast for fast songs and a jog or a fast walk for slow songs. She also started a fitness routine designed specifically for her by her gym, which included strength, conditioning, and weights. She said, "I had 3 months of dance training because I wanted to get it in my bones. I wanted to be so over-rehearsed that I could be silly with the fans and not lose my train of thought." Plus, Taylor said that she completely ditched alcohol because she would not dream trying to get through one of those shows while being hungover, and that sounds like a nightmare. Last but not least, she finally broke her silence on her relationship with Travis Kelce. The world was blown away when she showed up to one of Kelce's Chiefs games at Arrowhead Stadium earlier last year, sending fans into a spiral over whether or not they were dating. But according to her, they were already boyfriend and girlfriend by the time she actually went to that game. She said, "It all started when Travis very adorably put me on blast on his podcast, which I thought was metal as hell. We started hanging out right after that. So we actually had a significant amount of time that no one knew, which I'm grateful for because we got to get to know each other. By the time I went to that first game, we were a couple. I think some people think that they saw our first date at the game. We would never be psychotic enough to hard launch a first date. But as beloved as her relationship with Kelce already is, there has been a lot of grumblings from football fans who think the NFL is focusing on her way too much." In response to that, she said, "I don't know how they know what suite I'm in. There's a camera like half a mile away and you don't know where it is. And you have no idea when the camera is putting you in the broadcast. So I don't know if I'm being shown 17 times or once." She said that she's just there to support Travis and she has no awareness of whether or not she's being shown too much and upsetting a few Brads and Chads. So Taylor is very aware of the general surprise that people have shown in response to the public nature of her relationship, especially in comparison to her last long-term romance with Joe Alwyn. In the past few months alone, her and Travis have probably been seen together way more times than her and her ex-boyfriend ever were over the course of their 6-year relationship. But according to Taylor, there is a really big reason for that. She said, "When you say a relationship is public, that means I'm going to see him do what he loves. We're going to be showing up for each other. Other people are there and we just don't care. The opposite of that is that you have to go to an extreme amount of effort to make sure that no one knows that you're seeing someone, and we're just proud of each other." She went on to explain that over the years, she's learned that she does not have the time or even the bandwidth to get pressed about things that don't matter. She said, "Yes, if I go to dinner, there is going to be a whole chaotic situation outside of the restaurant, but I still want to go and have dinner with my friends because, hey, life is short. Have adventures." Taylor went on to say, "Me locking myself away in my house for a lot of years, I'll never get that time back. I'm more trusting now than I was 6 years ago." And thankfully that sounds like a much better outlook on life and relationships. So what do you think about Taylor's relationship with Travis Kelce? Do you think it's going to last? Please let us know in the comments below and I'll catch you guys in the next video.